Good evening, everyone. You're watching Awaz News. I'm Kubra Ali, and I'll be taking you to top news across Canada.
She was so carefree, family wants answers in death of Toronto woman in Jamaica. Upcoming travel plans with WestJet, here's what Torontonians can expect amidst looming strike action. New Liberal law would make it harder for some repeat violent offenders to get bail. More money from Ontario needed to end stalemate over Stellantis battery plant, feds. Amber Alert issued for 8-year-old boy from Thunder Bay. Suspect emerged from the brush and sexually assaulted women along walking trail, police say. A section of Kensington Market will soon be owned by the community if they can foot the $4 million bill.
Those were the headlines, and now let's look into the details.
Police are making a public appeal for information after a suspect allegedly sexually assaulted a woman on a walking trail in Scarborough's Cliffside neighborhood over the weekend and then approached another woman on the same trail one day later. Police say that the woman was walking on the trails at the south end of Chine Drive at around 1:15 p.m. on May 14 when a suspect emerged from the brush and sexually assaulted her. The suspect fled the scene following the incident and was last seen running towards Brimley Road, police say. It is believed that the same suspect returned to the area and approached another woman walking on the same trails the following morning. Police say that he had a verbal interaction with the woman which caused her to feel uncomfortable. She then fled the area. Police have released an image of the suspect and are appealing to anyone with information to come forward. He is described as white, in his 20s to 30s, unshaven with medium-length black hair. He was last seen wearing ripped light-colored blue jeans and red plaid shirt. Pilots for Calgary-based airline WestJet have issued a 24-hour strike notice, meaning if no agreement is reached by Friday, dozens of flights may be grounded until further notice. The WestJet Pilots Union, WestJet ALPA pilots, issued a tweet on Monday evening warning of strike action, saying services may be withdrawn at 3 a.m. MT on May 19 if an agreement is not reached. The airline has issued a lockout notice in response to possible strike action. It is our responsibility to ensure the safety and complete control of our network at all times to minimize the risk of stranding our guests, our crews, and our aircraft, continued the statement. Our commitment and priority remains at the bargaining table, where we will continue to work around the clock to come to a reasonable agreement as soon as possible in an effort to prevent labor action. A statement from Toronto Pearson, the Greater Toronto Airports Authority, advised passengers to keep an eye on their flight status, adding that passengers should not come to the airport if their flight is cancelled. Updates about scheduled WestJet flights will be provided by the airline directly at their company website. WestJet has issued a statement saying that for a limited time, passengers on scheduled flights between May 15 and 21st are eligible for a one-time cancellation or rebooking credit. If the strike proceeds and interrupts your travel plans, here's how you can expect to be compensated, according to Gabriel Lukacs, founder and coordinator of Air Passenger Rights. In an online resource guide for WestJet passengers, Lukacs said WestJet must rebook affected travelers on the next available flight, regardless of airline. This rebooking must be free of charge to the passenger, and if the change requires traveling to another airport, WestJet must foot the bill for your trip there. If you would rather cancel your trip, WestJet must refund you within 30 days for unused flights affected by the strike. If you require transportation from the airport back to your point of origin due to a cancelled flight due to the strike, WestJet must cover that travel as well. Devastated family members of a Toronto woman who died after being assaulted over the weekend in Jamaica are demanding answers. Jada Pauline Whitehead, 28, was found lying in bed unresponsive in a residence in the parish of Clarendon on Saturday, according to the Jamaica Constabulary Force. She was taken to hospital where she was pronounced dead. Investigators said reports from the Lionel Town police force indicate that at about 4 p.m. on Friday, the victim and her spouse got into a dispute, during which it is alleged that he shoved her into a wall. Whitehead died the following day. Police said that one person has since been taken into custody in connection with the death investigation, though charges have not been laid. Evelyn Fox, Whitehead's aunt, told Awaz News, "She's convinced there is far more to the story. I just want to make sure that this investigation is done properly and that every person involved is held accountable," she said Tuesday afternoon. Fox is alleging that police are basing their investigation on the version of events told to them by relatives of Jedda's husband, who lives in Jamaica. Further, she said that Jeddah had recently told her mom about abuse she had experienced allegedly at the hands of her partner and her plans to leave the relationship. She's also questioning the fact that her niece's belongings were reportedly left inside the house where she was found and not taken into the evidence. Whitehead lived in downtown Toronto and worked as the custodian at Ossington Old Orchard Public School in the city's West End. Fox told Awaz News that her niece traveled to Jamaica roughly 2 weeks ago to visit her husband and celebrate their one-year anniversary. Initially, she was set to only spend a week there, but Fox said that she decided to extend her trip by a week and was expected to return home on May 13. Now, instead of welcoming Jeddah back home, her distraught loved ones are mourning her death. She remembered Jeddah as a bubbly and pleasant person who always had everybody laughing. She was so carefree and a free spirit. She was just so cute, Fox shared. A local land trust in Toronto's Kensington market has penned an agreement to acquire 2 new properties, moving them into the hands of the community and promising to keep them affordable. The 2 properties found at 27 and 29 Kensington Avenue come with a price tag of approximately $4 million, a sum the Kensington Community Land Trust is now working to raise. "We have an agreement to purchase the property. We don't have $4 million, Kevin Barrett, co-founder of the trust, told Awaz News Monday. So we are in the midst of fairly aggressive fundraising and community investment campaign." So after becoming aware that the 2 Kensington Avenues properties had been listed on the market, the group said they were quick to act. "We submitted an offer for their asking price with an explanation that while we may not be the highest offer, we are a community group interested in preserving the legacy of those buildings," Barrett said. "We hoped that they will look favorably on our offer, and they did." The group intends to preserve the property's current occupants, which include 2 commercial businesses on the ground level and 6 tenants living in residential units above, and keep the building affordable. Industry Minister François Philippe Champagne says Ontario needs to bring more money to the table to end the stalemate with Stellantis over its new electric vehicle battery plant. The automaker and its partner LT Energy Solution began building the plant in Windsor, Ontario a year ago, but said Monday it had stopped construction as negotiations with Canada and Ontario hit a snag. Champagne says Stellantis asked Canada and Ontario to reconsider its financial aid offer to the plant last fall after the United States passed the Inflation Reduction Act. That bill included massive production subsidies for clean technology, including EV batteries, and led Canada to sign a deal with Volkswagen, the promises of up to $13 billion in federally funded production subsidies for a battery plant in southwestern Ontario. Stellantis wants a similar deal, but the federal government says Ontario needs to contribute something to the production side beyond its $500 million commitment toward the capital cost. Ontario Premier Doug Ford said Monday Canada needs to match its offer to Volkswagen for Stellantis. The Liberals' new bail reform legislation includes new measures that would make it more difficult for some repeat violent offenders to get released on bail. Justice Minister David Lametti introduced the bill Tuesday morning amid an ongoing plea from premiers, police associations, and victims' rights groups to strengthen the law. He said the bill responds directly to their concerns. The legislation introduces reverse-onus bail conditions for people charged with serious violent offenses involving a weapon in cases where the person was convicted of a similar violent offense within the past 5 years. It will also add some firearms offenses to existing reverse-onus provisions and expand the provision of the measure in cases where the alleged crimes involve intimate partner violence. While the burden of proof usually rests on prosecutors to convince judges why offenders should stay behind bars, this means that in some cases the offender will now be the one who has to prove in court why they should be released on bail. You are innocent until proven guilty, and this is a critically important part of our legal system, Lamity said during a news conference on Tuesday. Lamity said he hopes the law will pass with unanimous consent from other political parties. Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino said the announcement is about keeping communities safe and zeroes in on offenders who use guns and other weapons. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre said during his own press conference that he would go a step further if he was prime minister and waive such offenders' rights to a bail hearing in the first place. Poilievre said he would bring in laws that would require repeat violent offenders who are newly arrested for violent crimes to remain behind bars throughout their trial, jail not bail. He went on to say that the proposed laws would not raise the bar to access bail, and instead they create a series of lower bars and will continue to allow repeat violent offenders to be released on bail. The Ontario Provincial Police have issued an Amber Alert for an 8-year-old boy from Thunder Bay. Emerson Poulin is approximately 4 feet tall and 68 pounds. He's white and has brown hair. Police have identified 28-year-old Christopher Poulin as a suspect in the boy's disappearance. He's described as blonde and approximately 5'11". He's white and weighs approximately 190 pounds. The OPP has not specified the relationship between Emerson and Christopher. Both have been reported missing by the Thunder Bay Police Service and were last seen in Thunder Bay. Police ask anyone who sees Emerson and/or Christopher to call 911 immediately.
Thank you for tuning in. I'm Kubra Ali. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same channel. Have a good night.